What's going on, guys? Jimmy here with J Kaiser Custom MX. This is the final video, or the walk around video as I like to call it, part 3 of the Aermacchi, I'm not sure which one that is that's supposed to be correct, Harley Davidson M50. Now, as you can see in the garage behind me, this is certainly not my forte. Dirt bikes is what I typically fool around with. So dirt bike restoration is really more my hobby. Certainly not a 1966 Aermacchi Harley Davidson M50, but I acquired it kind of by accident. And if you saw the first video, I was like, can I restore this thing? I don't really know. If I were to be honest with you, I would have just, at the time I was thinking, there's no way I can restore this. There's just no way. I'll never find parts. I don't even know what the thing is supposed to look like. I have no idea about this bike. It's well before my time. But, you know, as I said last video, challenge accepted. So here we are, and I can't believe it, but it's finally finished, and it looks pretty darn good. And to boot, it runs and rides great. So you can't really beat that. So all I'm going to do in this video is take you a little walk around what I did, parts that I found, sources that I used. And I'm going to be honest with you, I used eBay a lot, and I do mean a lot, almost exclusively. A few little parts here and there I found in other places, but I had my work cut out for me, and I didn't know what I was getting into. If I were to think back when I got started, I might have parted it out, but you know what? I'm so glad I didn't, because this is a keeper. I'll hang on to this thing for a long time. I'm sure somebody's gonna want to buy it or offer me some kind of something for it, but I think I'm just gonna hang on to it for some time and enjoy it. And I did just that yesterday, as I took it to a Harley Davidson dealership nearby for a customer appreciation day. And of course, it made its way right up front and center inside the dealership itself and out front. It was a whole lot of fun. Made some videos and all that. So let me take a little walk around. Now, by the way, some of the parts that I had to replace the old parts with, I will try my best to link the eBay store or the eBay seller of where I got those things. There's a few things on the bike that I use, such as seat cover, rims, and things like that came from a particular seller. So in this video, or down below in the comments or in the description, whichever, I'm going to try to link those. If I can't, or if some reason it doesn't work, just ask me and I'll let you know where I got these parts. So let's take a walk around the bike now. Okay, so I'll just start from the top to bottom on this bike. I think it'll be easier and simpler, and it won't take too long. When I first got the bike, I didn't know that I didn't have the right handlebars, but after doing some research, I found out I didn't have the right handlebars. I was able to find a set on eBay. As I mentioned a minute ago, I used eBay a lot. Basically, the bars were just crusty and rusted, and whoever was selling them had just taken them off of another bike and just cut the throttle, cut the brakes, the clutch, and the two lines going to the shifter. But I was able to use the adjusters from that, but the throttle housing and the gear shifter housing I had, and I refinished those, and I repainted these in a bright silver finish. It's very similar to what the original looked like, as far as I can tell. I had to straighten out the clutch and the brake lever, and then just use my Prime MX cleaning wheel to get those back as good as I could. Now these aren't perfect, but they're not bad. You should have seen them to start with. And then on the back side of them, I used the same silver aluminum finish just to coat the inside of them so it wouldn't rust. And then of course I had the handlebars replated, re-chromed basically. There's a shop nearby that I've used a couple of times. They do a really good job. They take things from old and crusty to brand new again. This is an original switch, and although it looks a little worn out, I left it because I was afraid to do too much to it. To be quite honest, it's just too brittle to me. But I was able to clean up the 2 screws which thread directly into the handlebars. So that worked out really good. I cleaned the grips which is the throttle and the really the shifter side, so they're a lot cleaner than they were. This is a hard plastic. It's got the Harley Davidson emblem or logo on it, so of course there's no change in these. You're just going to have to clean up what you've got if you're restoring one of these, and do the best you can. As far as the whole front end, so once I got the bars on, I was able to find a new pack. This was the clutch cable, the brake cable, and the 2 shifter cables in a brand new pack. So I was able to buy those new. The throttle cable is the one that was on it, and I kept it. I just cleaned it up and kept it. And then as far as the forks go, this whole bike was completely, somebody just spray painted it, just from front to back, everything. Wheels, hubs, tires, everything. It was missing a headlight, but the forks were pretty much froze up. So, and they weren't even bolted to this clamp when I first got it. So I took the forks apart. It was a chore getting them to slide out of this bottom clamp, but I did get it. I took those apart. Inside there's a short spring. I sandblasted that spring, and then I recoated it with a flat black coating just to keep it from rusting again. So it's going to be just fine in there. And then I just had to save these little inserts, these little silver inserts, best I could. They're dented, they're not perfect. I didn't really find any replacements online, so I cleaned these up with a Prime-MX cleaning wheel as best as I could, and went with it. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Believe it or not, the headlight was a new old stock headlight that I found. There's a lot of Harley dealerships all over the place that have just old parts in stock, and they have them for this bike, believe it or not. I was very surprised that I even found it. Now, it does not have the speedometer in it. I could find another one and put in it. I may do that later. I just chose to leave the cap on and skip the speedometer. So that's kind of your front end. Now, the fender was missing when I got the bike, and so I was able to find one on eBay. Now I'm going to stop this story right here, because this is where things went sideways. As I was putting this bike together in the shop, I had the frame done and powder coated. I had the fenders powder coated. I had the rack powder. Everything that I needed done is, at least for the frame. I was finished with the motor. I put the motor in, I put the front end on, I put the new fender on, I put the exhaust on, and the fender was hitting the exhaust. I thought, what in the world's going on here? If you can see, you got a good 6 inches or so of clearance between the fender and the exhaust, and when I was putting it together, the fender was hitting the exhaust. And that's when I found a huge problem with my project, which lays right here. This is the original frame. This headstock, or this pipe, or this part of the rail should be straight. And as you can see, there's a curve in it. That is not supposed to be there. And when I had this frame powder coated, I had no idea that that wasn't normal. Well, it isn't. And somebody, I don't know how you would do that. I don't know if you had a severe front end collision or it fell off of a truck. Who knows? But this frame was ruined, and I thought, well, there goes my project right there. I'll never find another frame. Lo and behold, as it turns out, the same guy that I bought the fender from had a frame for sale too. Now the bike is a 66, the frame is a 67, but it's exactly the same. I bought the frame right then. That is not what I had planned on doing, but I did. I got it back, or I got it in. It was in good shape. I had it re-powder coated again. Took everything off the old frame, put back on the frame I just bought, and then I started again. Put the front end on, put the fender on, put the exhaust on, and I'm back out straight again. So that was a hiccup that I wasn't expecting, but it happened. So now I'm back going again, as far as this frame and the front end, cables, the front, the back. The fender is on. I refinished the shocks, pretty much the same process as I did the front, and then I used the old exhaust. This exhaust isn't perfect, but I'm just not finding too many, and it's not awful either. So All I ended up doing was using a high temp coating on the clamp, and went ahead and bolted her back on. As far as the motor goes, I was too afraid to do a whole lot to this motor. The only thing that I ended up doing was taking the cylinder off, of course the cylinder head. The piston looked decent, but there's no replacement pistons around, so there are replacement rings. So I bought the rings, recoated or sandblasted the cylinder head and the cylinder, cleaned it up, used a high temp black gloss and then a high temp aluminum color for the cylinder head. Polished up the side cases. I took these off and polished these up as best I could. Same with the other side. Cleaned up the spring, cleaned up the fittings. Anything I could clean up I did, but I didn't get into this motor, and I just went on a whim that the transmission was good, so, and the clutch. As it turned out, it was. There's a few little some parts I did paint, such as the foot pegs and the brake. I got a little bit of a nick in this that I'm going to fix, and then the housing for the rear tail light, I also painted it. I have a paint that matches the powder coat that I used, and matches it perfectly. Found myself an actual 1966 tag California license plate online. Had to have that. Excuse me. And then on this side, over on the other side here, I did same with the shock. Had to find another chain guard. This bike actually has a second chain guard that goes here. These things are really hard to find, so it's not worth holding up the project on, because I can do without it. But if I find one, I'll get it, I'll paint it to match, and then I'll bolt it on. So that's not enough to hold us up, but I am missing that part. Let's see, got the stand on this bike came on it, and I think somebody's tweaked it along the way. If I ever find a decent stand that I like better, I'll grab it. Polished up the side case here the same way. Put in a new fuel line, which has I put in a filter. I actually purchased a different carburetor because I was missing the air filter. And then the last two things are the tank and the seat. So the tank, I'm not a professional painter, but I turned into one. I sandblasted this tank, I sanded it, I primed it, I sanded it again. There was a small hole in it over here, and I felt that the easiest way to repair that was with JB weld and then sand it. And you can still see the repair a little bit, but it was the best option I had. But I was pleased enough with it that I went ahead with it. I used an automotive white paint, and then taped off the pinstripes, and then I used the red that matches the rest of the bike, and then I used a 2K clear coat that I bought from Eastwood Paints. So it's a spray can, but it's a very good clear coat. So the paint job isn't perfect, but it's sure not bad. And then I found the replacement Made in Italy sticker that would have come on this bike originally, again on eBay, and the replacement decals also on eBay. So those are available, and I was surprised, but they are. This is the original cap, just cleaned up. I used a little bit of Maxima SC1 just to make that black kind of come back out again, and that's probably all anybody needs. And once you clean it up, I'm sure there's really no replacements of those. The last thing I'll say is the seat. The seat pans on these bikes are probably hard to come by. I didn't find any. Mine was not in great shape. The seat foam was so corroded that it looked like dirt. So I bought a 3-inch foam block. It's the high density polyurethane foam. Nice and sturdy. I think if I were to do this again, I'd probably go with a 4-inch one, and then once the seat cover went on, it would compress it some and make it a little tighter. But I'm not completely, I think the 3-inch worked out fine. So what I ended up doing with the seat pan is I sandblasted it. You can only do so much with it because you don't want to do too much or you'll ruin it. And then I just encapsulated it. Basically, I used a primer, a thick coat of primer, and a thick coat of flat black Rust-Oleum, really, and just made it black and just kept it, you know, covered up all the bare metal. Put my new basically just hand cut my foam, and then I had this seat cover made by a guy who makes seat covers for these bikes and Harleys, and he has a store on eBay. He did not have a pattern for the M50, so I sent him my original seat cover and he made one. So that's another link that I'm going to put in the description so you guys will have it. He can now make these if you're looking for one. The pins for this are really for a Honda 50, some kind of 50. They're very similar to the pins that were in it to start with. I just had to use 2 or 3 stack washer on the back, because when those pins go through and fold backwards, they need something to grip to. So I used about a stack of 3 small washers on each one, nice and tight. It came out really nice. So very pleased how that turned out. Looks pretty original, nice and soft. The seat works, it looks good. It'll be nice and firm for a long time. Oh, the wheels. These are my original rims. They are twisted, they're bent, they're crusty. They were just not worth using to me. So I bought a replacement rim that's almost identical to the factory rim that came on this bike from Perini Moto in Italy, and I actually bought the wrong size to start with, so I had to foot the bill on returning those and getting the right ones. I'll put the size in the description that I bought. And then I used a 3mm spoke, which is a little bit of a heavier spoke that came on this bike. These are laced a little different than what came on it, but this is more of a traditional lacing. Works good, looks good, much stronger wheel than original, and I think it just looks better all in all. And then of course on the hubs and the brake and all the wheel parts, I used the same not metallic, it's a silver aluminum, bright aluminum silver paint for the hubs and these, just like I did on the handlebars. Same with the front wheel, and that's it. I relaced these wheels. I could not find the Pirelli tires that came on it, so this is a little bit of heavier or bigger tire. This is a 2 1/4 by 17. Original was 2 by 17, but this tread pattern was very similar. And I went with it, and they look great and get the job done. I put a new chain on it. That's just a standard 420 chain. I cut it to size, removed the links that I didn't need, replaced the sprocket because the sprocket that came with the bike was wrong. I put the right sprocket on. I found several of those on eBay, new old stock sprockets for this bike, front and rear. So they're out there. You could just you could find them. And I put a new one on, put the new chain on, and we're good to go. So the last thing I'll do is fire it up. We'll walk around, and that's it. If you have any questions, you let me know, and I'll be glad to answer.